Good morning from Seattle, Washington. It is Tuesday, and Tuesday is the Advanced Business Workshop, for real estate professional. And if you hear, you're watching this program, and if you would like to increase your business and income, um, I'm here for you to share with you some best idea and strategy that you can walk away at the end of this program right into your business. That's going to help you to improve your more client, more customer, and doing it more efficient, more effective, and more productive. And of course, that's going to lead to more profitable for you and your business. That's the whole purpose of that why you're here for the training. So we starting out with the Advanced Business Workshop Program that where I share with you, about the time management and create a schedule that work for you. So, you know, then, on the second program, we're discussing about customer acquisition. That where I share with you, multiple idea and strategy that I have used over the 22 years that how as a CEO and operator that I operated Windermere and Prudential in Seattle, Washington, that help and that provides services for over 3,000 clients in the area, right? So I want to use a lot of those experience and and helping you to grow your business. That's why we're here. And then we also talking about like the gold mine, right? So we see like working with the people that like you and trust you, and how to get the 10% of those clients refer business to you, right? So we call past client and sphere of influence. So today I wanted to share with you very important subject that gonna help you with your business. It pre-qualified, right? Pre-qualified, it's about quantity versus quality, right? So it's just like any professional in the business, like I my lawyer, my attorney, for example, if I were to go to him, or any client that go to him, for the services, first they need to go through a process, which is like identify, and then pre-qualify to make sure that if the situation is something that they can help with. If a new client come to a professional office, they have to qualify before they can take on the client, right? And so, if my friends, my client is also a doctor, right? So, they have the process, what they call, if any client come to the door and asking for the professional services, the first thing they do is they qualify that client, right? So you really, in medical, you say, you know, you have to you have to diagnose before you subscribe, right? So you have to identify, you diagnose what the problem from the client, and then you give the medicine for the client, right? To heal whatever the issue and the problem that the client have. But in real estate, right, which I train and coach over 146 entrepreneur, and 11 of my students went on and become a self-made millionaire, right? People, get into business that have nothing, like myself, from a refugee from Vietnam, and I went through a process of, start up a business and work on the business and grow and build a business, right? So, in real estate, what I see, all the issue is that, whenever we have a client, we should go right ahead to the service, the client, without really identify, without qualify, whether or not this client is qualified, for you to work with, right? So, it's like, and become a problem, and you don't want it to have so many customers, right? Like I say at the gold mine on the lesson number 2, is that you don't, if you want to do 100 transaction, if you would like to help 100 client, right? And and like where I'm at in Seattle, Washington, it's a residential brokerage. if 100 client where the average home price is 700,000, average commission would be like 21,000. If you do 100,000, you on track to make $2 million a year. But that's one example. But if you set your goal, to help 100 client, to provide service for 100 client, all you need is just 100 client will be 100 leads, right? But the qualified lead. You don't want to work with too many unqualified clients. It's gonna drive you nuts. It's gonna drive you out of the business, and it's very discouraged. Okay, and it's really not the way to do it. So that's what this lesson today is all about. So so I wrote down you have to spend more time pre-qualify the customer and less time on the building relationship, to build a quality business, right? To build a quality business, you need to have a quality client. And how do you get to know if you have the quality client? You go through the process, you pre-qualify the client. I always look and say, if you're working with a buyer, my business model over the last 20 years is that when I coach and train, for my Self-Made Millionaire to build a business of real estate, is you want to work with the quality one. So you really have to look and say, let's say your business model is like 70% buyer sale, and then 30% is the listing sold, right? And you really have to look at buyer and say, okay, what is my quality from the buyer that I'm looking for, right? Whether or if the buyer, what the definition of the buyer, and for example, if they receptive to work with you, if they're going to work in the geographic area that you're working in, right? If they qualify for financing, how about like motivation to buy and buy from you exclusively, So what is the process and what kind of question that you need to qualify the buyer, right? Before because I see a lot of over the 16 years, working, training, and coaching, real estate entrepreneur. I mean, I see that most of the people, when they have the client, they just go ahead and start in the process working with them, not even go through a pre-qualified process. That's frustrating for you and also frustrated for the client, and you don't get the result. And that's something that you do not want for you and your business, right? So if the buyer, have to identify whether you have a buyer, whether you have a looker, right? So that's really up to you. So to qualify, just like CPA, tax consultant, it's just like attorney law office, it's just like medical doctor. They all have to qualify their client, right? My friend, he's flying for Alaska Airlines, right? Before he fly the airplane in the air, he walking into the cabin. He go ahead and qualify. He makes sure that every checklist is checked, right? Before he take off before he take off the airplane. So any professional, they qualify, and so are you, my friend, real estate professional, who would like to increase your business and income and expanding your business in today's market, right? So you keep your qualifications, dialogue or script, in everywhere, in your office, in your car, so that you can, you can set an appointment in your office or at the property of where the asset located at, right? So how prepared are you about qualify your client, right? How prepared are you? When I started the business, I always have the pre-qualified script, in my car, in my office, right? So I'm always in the position of talking to and qualify my client. So, I wrote down is that, you're looking for the people that you have to sell, have to buy, and pre-qualify your client, and the seller that must sell versus the seller that want to sell. have to would mean that, if they have to, for example, my friend, he owned a shopping center. They sold the shopping center, right, through a REIT, and they do the 1031 exchange. So they got 45 days to closing on the asset, on the three assets that they identify. I'm sorry, they have 180 days, to closing on the three assets that they identify. And they identify, those three assets they have to purchase within the 45 days from the day of closing, right? So you really have to look in at the people who have to do it versus want to do it, right? People that, your client, if their motivation is high, right? They tendency to be receptive and working on the price that will help you, that will help them. In this case, get the listing sold or get the leasing lease out, right? So I see a lot of retail right now in the marketplace. We're in the middle of pandemics, and the retail vacancy at all-time high, right? So our client from the shopping center, owner and developer, very highly motivated and wanted to lease a property. So, you have to look at the client right in the eye and say, do you want to do it or do you have to do it, right? So big difference, right? So, what is the reason for the people that want to do it? Whether, client go to divorce, whether, whether they sell the asset right now, look at the client right now. Because some of the shopping center, some of them that they have 5 years to 7 year loan, and the loan coming due, and the vacancy at this asset is, at all time high right now. So the lender, they wouldn't refinance for an asset that have a high vacancy, right? So that's a financial issue they have to deal with. So client is motivated, want to make the deal. So really, what would be the reason that they wanted to get it done, right? So that, and how do you know? You qualify your client, right? So that's very important for you to do that. So I wrote down is that, pre-qualified that will set you apart from the competition, right? Because it makes you look more like a professional. Because that's why you've been at the Advanced Business Workshop, and that's why I'm training the professional. I want to share best idea and strategy and business practice with professional. Because whether you're going to be a professional or the mediocre, they careless about qualified client. They're just going to work with any client, anywhere, anytime, right? And so if a professional, you qualify, and that's how customer, they're going to be appreciated that, you appreciated that, your family, your spouse, your children will appreciate that, right? Because you do not want to spend time with the people that don't have the need for your service. And I really don't care how good a job you do, but you providing the service, in this case, brokerage service, like listing, sold, or buy somebody a home, or lease them a property. I don't care how good you are. You cannot really get it done, or providing the service for people don't have the need for it. And how do you know if they have the need for it? You qualify, my friend. You qualify, right? So it's gonna make you look more. If you separate yourself from the 90%, of the real estate industry, right? Because I know it's an 80-20 rule. 20% of the people in the real estate industry make it 80% of the income, right? So the question here is, hey, I am gonna be on the 20%, or am I gonna be on the rest of the 80%? You with me? You watching this program? You want to be on the 20%. You want to be a professional, right? Either you are if you make decision how to be professional, how to become one of the best, or one of the rest, right? And and I know, in the changing and declining market like where we are right now, customer requiring to work with the best, right? Not the rest. So you have to make that decision. So In qualifying, I wrote down, you have your lender pre-qualify your client from the financial standpoint, right? And you pre-qualify, your client regarding, their asset, right? And their motivation. You need to know about the motivation of your client, your seller, for example. What is the motivation of your client on the scale of 1 to 10? You know what I mean? Like 10, like somebody like, my client I just shared with you, they have to sell the asset, or they have to lease out the asset, in order for them to get loan and refinance, and for some of my some of the client they have to sell it because of the divorce. Somebody have to buy the property, client have to buy the property because of the relocation, finding a new job, or whatever the reason. And you really have to know your motivation from your client, right? Because you can, you can get to the, you can get a great result if you work with qualified and motivated client, right? So very important, very important, that you do that. So I wrote down that, the people, the people that the people that not really, qualify the people that not really qualify their client, they the tendency to work with everybody, anywhere, anytime, right? So in real estate business and entrepreneur, and that's what I do. Beside, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now from a refugee to become, an owner of Windermere or Prudential or doing the business that I'm doing if I didn't spend time with anybody, anywhere, anytime, right? You wasted your time. You frustrated yourself in the process, right? So I wrote down here that people do not, pre-qualify, do not pre-qualify their appointment, right? Their client, they focus on the activity that lead to no income. Isn't that what you try to do? You want to be out there wasting your time, your valuable time for your children, for yourself, and then don't get any result, make no money, provide no service of a value. No, you don't want to do that, right? So because in real estate, there are two types of activity, right? You either in real estate, there are two types of activity. Activity number one is the income producing activity. That's what you involve in the advanced business workshop through a training and coaching. We're training you how to focus, shift your focus on income producing activity, right? So what is income producing activity? Customer acquisition, follow up with your client, right? And then making a presentation, go on the presentation, negotiate contract, right? Helping your client, and then what about the activity number two, which is income servicing, right? Income servicing, income producing. How many percentage of your day is spending time on income producing activity? What happened, my friend, when you build in a schedule that focus on income producing activity? What happened to your income? You grow your business, you help more people, right? And the business much more meaningful for you. Okay, so the people that not qualify their client, they are able to to choose the client that you want to work with. That's very important, right? If you're gonna put anybody in your office, if you're gonna put anybody in your car driving around, if you work with the client, you have to be able to choose which client you want to work with, right? And so I always say that you either work with buyer, you work with seller, right? And so when I started the business, right, first year sold like four houses. Second year learning the business, be able to sell 16 transactions a month, right? It all applies in the same concept that I sharing with you, right? So you wanted to choose the client that you work with, right? I already shared with you that so I got the database, the list that I write out on a piece of paper. So I write out on the left side that the buyer, right? On the right side that the seller. And I'm always pre-qualify them. And trust me, A stand for, B stand for buyer, and S stand for seller. and sometimes they become like BS, and when it becomes BS, you don't want to work with those type of client, right? Save your time. So the people that not qualified for their business appointment, they have less client problem, you know, right? So the people that do not pre-qualify their client, they have less client problem and more business, So it's really important for you to know that. So what would be the rule for the business, right? In business, you have rule, right? So anybody, you work for any corporate America, McDonald's, you're working for, everybody have rule, right? Costco have rule, Amazon have rule. What is your rule, right? Right. So what is your model? Do you have the rule that you set for your business? Do you have a minimum standard that you set for your business? So the rule that I suggested here is that you qualify your client 100%, right? Right. So with no, use 100% of the pre-qualified question for your pre-qualified, right? So, come to Advanced Business Workshop. We're gonna share with you that information, okay? So, so, so I wrote down it. You pre-qualify allow for you to set a standard, right? So the standard you want for your client, and you establish a minimum standard for your client, right? So that's really important, right? The moment you got to have the standard, right? You have to have a minimum standard, for your client, for your business. Yeah. So pre-qualify when it's possible. Pre-qualify and set an appointment. It's really shake time. You need to know your client before you meet with them. You qualify them, right? So also I wrote down is that pre-qualify is allow for you, to have more energy, while going on a business presentation. Face it, my friend, you go and see a client, right? You need to know who they are, what their motivation, what the reason for them to do it, and so you really know all about this, right? And then you send your professional profile and track record to your client. So really the party, have to really get to know each other before you meet it. You don't want to show up so cold. They don't know who you are and you don't know who they are, right? So yeah. So the last thing that I wrote down here is that you're gonna lose the prospect on an appointment because of you pre-qualify. It's better for you to lose them during the pre-qualifying process rather than you spending your time and wasting your time and go on the meeting, right? So you rather to do that. Again, saving time. So I coach one of the student, right? And she always really, 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 really busy working, but the production is not really showing it. And then her name is Kathy. So I talked to Kathy someday and I say, why are you going on so many appointments, but the result is not selling? You don't help the client much, and you make less money, and she shared with me that because she work like all the time, and her one day she came home and she found out, she saw her son, in the closet, and then you know, she asked him, why he's there, and what, her son is crying, telling her that, Mom, you've been away so much, you never home with me, and I miss you so much. I come in and I smell in your clothes, my friend. You can do more business, less stress, have more fun in the process, and helping more people if you qualify your client, right? So I got more information about this particular subject that I want to share with you, that helping you, acquiring more customer, helping more people, and enjoying the business more. So, yeah, when come to our advanced business workshop on Tuesday, we're gonna be able to look at in depth, how to helping you, to do more business in less time. And as you can see, I'm sitting here in front of the regional EB5 regional center, right? It is the U.S. Immigration Approval Regional Center, and I've been around, as you can see, since 2007, right? We are a group that we help over over 500 clients that invest into the U.S. From Asia. That create a lot of job, for the local economy worker here, and create housing, right? So we have a great program that we're gonna go out to Hong Kong and China and Vietnam that will be promoted. But and today what I'm doing is also helping you with your business, right? But we got a great investment product that we can help your client to you know migrate it to the U.S. So keep that in mind. That's one of the components that can help you to expanding your income. By helping your client to invest into real estate and migrate to the USA, right? So with that, I wanted to thank you for your time today, and that you taking the time to come and learn, you know, a new way to improve your business and income. And with that, go out there and help your client and have a great day. And until next time, thank you.